everyone. Thanks for listening to Wake Up, Look Up, a podcast where we connect events happening in real time to the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm Zach Weihrauch. In this episode, we're looking at aliens exist. What does this mean for the Bible? Of course, the title's a little tongue-in-cheek. It's based on a recent paper that came out from a Harvard sociologist arguing that not only aliens exist, but they actually live as humans on our planet. I had a chuckle when I first read it because I thought, well, like you, I've met a few people that I thought maybe could be aliens. It's important to say that this Harvard researcher's paper is not peer-reviewed and actually has been rejected by a couple publications for just not really being factual. But it brings up an interesting question that's just worth talking about, and that is, if aliens did exist, if somehow we had conclusive evidence that they had been living among us, that they had landed here in the past, if an alien ship came down in the middle of this podcast, what would that mean for us as Christians? In particular, what would that mean for the Bible? Would the presence of aliens mean that we should put the Bible away because it doesn't say anything about aliens? That is a theological question that I think is really worth considering. It might even be a question that your kids have asked you before. What would the existence of aliens, what would the impact be on our faith? It's really important to say that the Bible never argues that it tells us everything. It never argues that to be comprehensive in its knowledge, either in its historical accounts. It's not arguing that it's telling us everything that happened in human history. In its scientific data, it's not arguing to be a textbook that answers all of our scientific questions, or in our understanding of God. Take, for example, the end of the Gospel of John. John tells us that he's written all these things about the life and ministry of Jesus because he wants us to make a decision about Jesus as the Messiah. But he even says, hey, this is not everything that Jesus did. If I wrote down everything that Jesus did, all the books of the world couldn't contain it. What John is saying is that there are miracles of Jesus we know nothing about. There are stories and teachings of Jesus that we know nothing about. If that's true of the life of Jesus, which was relatively brief in terms of human life, how much more so is it true of the activity of God the Father? The Bible isn't telling us everything about God. It's not telling us everything about the universe, everything about our world, even everything about ourselves. The Bible is telling us everything we need to know to have a relationship with God. The Bible has a specific purpose in mind, and that is that you and I would turn from our sins and our rebellion against God, receive the grace of Jesus through believing in his life, death, and resurrection, and begin an eternal relationship with God that will carry on long after this life is over. The Bible tells us everything we need to know to get there, and stops short of telling us anything beyond that. So if an alien showed up in this room right now, that alien wouldn't contradict anything the Bible has told me about God, about me, about sin, about Jesus, about salvation. That alien would just exist in a category of all the things that God didn't tell me about. And that's a really important thing to say because science is always advancing. We're discovering new things all the time, and that shouldn't rattle you. The Bible has a specific purpose. The information it gives us is in service to that purpose. And there being things that exist outside of that purpose is more than okay. Here's what you do need to know. What the Bible does tell us about, it tells us about with 100% accuracy. It's historical accounts, it's scientific understanding, it's psychological understanding of who we are, it's spiritual understanding of who God is and what he's doing is entirely reliable. So let's spend a little less time worrying about what the Bible doesn't tell us about and spend a lot more time wrestling with what it does tell us about, because the truth is there's so much more that God has said that he wants us to know that you and I have yet to understand, already there for us in the Bible. I have no idea if there are aliens, but I do know that if there are, it doesn't change a single thing about the promises that God has made to you and to me in Jesus. Hey, thanks for watching this video. Make sure you hit like and subscribe to get future content from Wake Up, Look Up and from Christ Community Chapel. And while you're here, check out the other videos we have available.